INFJ personality type is one of the rarest and most mysterious personality types. An INFJ is driven by a deep sense of purpose, meaning and authenticity. They have a strong desire to make a difference in the world and to understand themselves and others. However, like other personality types, INFJs are not suited for all types of jobs. If you are an INFJ and you are struggling with a job, then you are definitely not alone. First, lawyer. INFJs should not do anything that will make them uncomfortable or stressed. They are, after all, Myers-Briggs type J, which means that they prioritize personal integrity and authenticity above all else. This makes them naturally drawn to law, as it is a profession that values communication and collaboration above all else. However, INFJs should be aware of the potential stressors inherent in this field. They should avoid working long hours and dealing with difficult clients if they can help it. In addition, INFJs should take care to maintain their own mental and physical health throughout their career. Doing so will not only improve their productivity but also allow them to better connect with others on a deeper level. Second, CEO. INFJs are often drawn to careers in the corporate world. While this can be a rewarding and fulfilling path, there are some things INFJs should not do if they want to thrive in their career. First, INFJs need time alone to recharge and reflect. They need time to contemplate their thoughts and feelings, and to develop their own ideas independently. This doesn't mean that INFJs cannot work intensely or collaboratively. It just means that they need time for themselves in order to be at their best. Second, INFJs are highly sensitive people. They may find working in a constantly noisy or chaotic environment difficult. Instead of seeking out these types of environments, INFJs should try to find workplaces where they can feel comfortable voicing their opinions and contributing thoughtfully to discussions. Finally, INFJs are often drawn to working with other introverted types. However, they should be aware that this can be a challenging and demanding relationship. They should make sure to schedule regular time for themselves in order to recharge and focus on their own needs. Third, salesperson. Some INFJs may find it difficult to sell because they are not used to being in front of people. They may also find it difficult to be assertive and push for their ideas. Fourth, a factory worker. INFJs are natural leaders and often excel in positions that require creativity, coordination, and attention to detail. However, they should not take on jobs that require long hours or constant focus. INFJs are also not well suited to work in factories, where there is a lot of noise and chaos. Fifth, janitor. INFJs are often seen as the life of the party, but this isn't always the case. INFJs can actually be quite shy and reserved, and should not take part in activities that they find uncomfortable or boring. They should also avoid working in professions that require them to deal with gross or disgusting materials. Sixth, doctor. INFJs should not become doctors because they have difficulty dealing with stress. While studying to be a doctor, they will be faced with many challenges and pressures. This can be very difficult for an INFJ, who typically deals well with stress. Furthermore, INFJs are often drawn to helping others, but becoming a doctor means working long hours and putting their patients' safety at risk. Seventh, teacher. INFJs can be great teachers, but they should not do things that they find boring or tedious. They should also avoid working with students who are difficult or disrespectful. Eighth, scientist. INFJs are often drawn to the sciences, as they hold a great deal of fascination for the complex world around them. However, there are a few things that INFJs should not do if they want to maintain their integrity and stay true to themselves. First and foremost, INFJs should not neglect their personal relationships. They are highly sensitive individuals and need to feel loved and appreciated in order to function at their best. If they become too focused on their work or on advancing scientific knowledge, they may neglect important personal relationships and start losing touch with who they really are. Second, INFJs should avoid becoming bogged down in details. They enjoy exploring new territory and learning about complicated subjects, but this can be difficult if they become too caught up in minutiae. Ninth, police officer. INFJs should not do anything that might make them feel uncomfortable or out of place. This includes things like talking to members of the police force, as they can be very demanding and judgmental. INFJs should also avoid any illegal activities, as this could put them in danger. 10th, military personnel. INFJs should not do military service, as it would involve sacrificing too much of their individuality and inner peace. They are best suited for positions that require discretion and diplomacy, not physical strength or aggression. Furthermore, INFJs are often challenged by the constant stress and demands of military life. 11th, accountant. INFJs should not do things that would make them feel unhappy or frustrated. They are very good at taking care of their own needs, and they should not put themselves in situations where they are feeling overwhelmed or stressed. INFJs should also avoid things that would conflict with their ethical values. They are loyal and compassionate people, and they should not put themselves in situations where they feel like they are doing something wrong. 12th, journalist. INFJs are often drawn to the arts and journalism, fields that require a high level of introspection and critical thinking. However, many INFJs find that these careers don't offer them enough autonomy or independence. As such, they may not be best suited for roles in which they are constantly under pressure from others to produce results or meet deadlines. Instead, INFJs should consider careers in which they can exercise their creativity and intuition free from undue scrutiny. Alternatively, they may find satisfaction in working with others in a support role, providing impartial advice and counsel. 13th, insurance agent. INFJs should not try to be salespeople. They are naturally compassionate and caring individuals, which can make them great candidates for insurance sales, but they need to avoid becoming overbearing or pushy. They should also avoid trying to rush decisions or insisting on taking charge when they are not comfortable with doing so. INFJs should take their time to get to know their clients and build a rapport before suggesting any specific products or services. 14th, real estate agent. INFJs are natural-born real estate agents, but there are a few things they should not do if they want to be successful. First, INFJs should not try to hard sell their services to potential clients. They should instead build a trusting relationship with each one and let them know what they can offer them in terms of service. Additionally, INFJs should avoid getting emotional about their work. This will make it difficult for them to remain objective and will ultimately lead to less success. 15th, chef. INFJs are often drawn to the arts, specifically in the culinary industry. As a result, they should not do things like prep or cook food, as these tasks require focus and concentration that INFJs may find difficult to muster. Additionally, INFJs may have difficulty managing money or dealing with difficult customers. Therefore, they should avoid positions in which they must interact with others regularly. 16th, personal assistant. INFJs should not do tasks that require a great deal of direct communication with others. This includes things like taking phone calls, fielding emails, and helping people with their daily schedules. INFJs are more likely to feel overwhelmed and stressed if they are required to take on these types of responsibilities. 17th, painter. INFJs are often drawn to the arts, and as such, there are a few things that INFJs should not do. Firstly, INFJs should not be picky about their art. They should be willing to experiment and try new things, which will help them grow as artists. Secondly, INFJs should not be afraid to take risks. If they are passionate about their work, they will be more likely to push themselves and try new techniques. Finally, INFJ artists should always remain humble and appreciate the appreciation of others. They should never forget that their art is just one part of a much larger puzzle and that they must continue to grow and learn in order to create true masterpieces. 18th, web developer. For INFJs, web development is a great way to use their intuition and analytical skills. However, they should avoid working on projects that require a lot of creativity or input from others. Instead, they should focus on projects that require mostly technical expertise. 19th, photographer. INFJs are often drawn to the arts, specifically photography. However, there are a few things INFJs should not do when it comes to photography. Firstly, INFJs should avoid taking photos of people without their consent. This is because INFJs are often sensitive and care about others' feelings, which can make them vulnerable when photographing people without their permission. Secondly, INFJs should not take photos that are too dark or too light. They need to find a balance between capturing the essence of the subject and making the photo look good. Lastly, INFJ photographers should always be mindful of their camera settings and use filters judiciously to create the perfect photo. 20th, social media manager. Social media managers for INFJs should be selective about the platforms and accounts they manage. They should avoid platforms that require constant engagement with other users or that are geared towards promoting advertising. Additionally, INFJs should avoid social media accounts that are solely meant to spread hate or provoke anger. Instead, they should focus on creating positive and meaningful interactions with followers. 21st, event planner. There are some things INFJs should definitely not do if they want to maintain a healthy, balanced personality. For example, INFJs should not be overbearing organizers or dictators. They are great at taking care of people and projects when they are organized and planned well, but if something goes wrong or someone doesn't feel comfortable with the plan, they can become frustrated and angry. Additionally, INFJs should avoid becoming obsessive planners or micromanagers. This can lead to them feeling overwhelmed and stressed out by everything that is happening in their life. Finally, INFJs should also avoid being too critical of themselves or others. While they may be excellent judges of character and ability, they should not allow these qualities to consume them and drive them crazy with self-doubt. 22nd, public speaker. INFJs are natural public speakers and can often be very persuasive. However, there are some things that INFJs should not do when speaking in public. First and foremost, INFJs should never force their opinions on others. They should always allow others the opportunity to speak first, and then offer their own insights. Secondly, INFJs should avoid speaking in a monotone or robotic voice. Their voice should be fluid and engaging so that listeners will be drawn in and want to hear more. Finally, INFJs should never make assumptions about the interests or knowledge of their audience. Before speaking, they should research the topic thoroughly so that they can provide accurate information. 23rd, the masseuse. INFJs should not do things that they do not enjoy. As much as INFJs enjoy helping others, they should only do things that make them happy. Additionally, INFJs should avoid anything that could hurt or disturb the masseuse in any way. 24th, dog groomer. INFJs should not be dog groomers, as this occupation involves a great deal of personal contact with other animals. This can be very difficult for INFJs, as they are often introverted and tend to shy away from social interactions. Additionally, dog grooming is often tedious and labor-intensive work, which is not something that INFJs are typically drawn to. 25th, pet nurse. INFJs should not become pet nurses because they are not natural caregivers. They may be great with animals in general, but they will struggle to provide the level of care and attention that pets need. Additionally, INFJs may find it difficult to filter out their personal feelings when caring for animals, which can lead to them neglecting or mistreating them.